Hey guys, this is Market Update. We have some encouraging signs actually. First normal work week after Christmas and New Year. We've bounced off this support level. So very, very good. We're above 100K again. So 4 tests of this kind of 90K support. We've bounced off this week. Buyers are obviously coming in again. We know MicroStrategy is still buying. They'll be going through some more buyers. Like what they're doing is insane. So they just have a lot of demand from bond buyers and other types of securities buyers that in other ways can't get directly into Bitcoin. So they're using a MicroStrategy as that on-ramp essentially. So like we've used on-ramps for years, right? Like how do we get money into crypto? We're using all these different on-ramps. This is what TradFi are doing right now, like hedge funds using on-ramps to get into BTC, just like we did for all these years. So quite funny actually, but it's just happening at the world's biggest stage at this point. This support level here bounced again, as you can see, right? So yeah, very good news. We have a long way to go. Inauguration on the 20th. Maybe some policy around that will become a little bit clearer. All the questions about BTC and BTC adoption are just finished at this point, right? It's adopted at this point. It's just becoming a huge asset class. BlackRock are saying 2% of your funds should be in it. What they're saying is they're going to put Bitcoin in all of their funds. Loads of funds, if you're in the investing world and you look at loads of different ETFs and other funds, mutual funds, a lot of them will have gold in them. Even though they're like real estate funds or income funds, they'll have gold in there as a diversifier, right? Because what they do is they sell you on the annual rate of return and the volatility and the Sharpe ratio, Sortino ratio, etc. They're going to be putting Bitcoin in here to basically wash over all of the garbage that they have in these funds that they sell you for fees. So they'll be putting Bitcoin in here to actually give returns and a good Sharpe ratio to the portfolio that they're selling you, because all the other stuff is garbage. You can buy that if you want. I don't recommend it. I just recommend buying BTC, to be honest, because best performing asset, it's going up 50% CAGR and you don't pay any fees for it. If you've got it in ETF, I get it, right? But basically, this thing is going to proliferate across so many different funds, and it's going to make up, I think, 4, 5, 6% of basically all invested capital across capital markets. And so there's a long way to go. If you do trade BTC, Bybit down below, $30,000 deposit bonus. If you can't trade on there, check out Apex, which is Bybit's DEX. You can get a permanent fee discount on there by the link below as well. I think we've basically got 8 years left of outsized returns for BTC, and that's just come down into something nearing the NASDAQ index. NASDAQ index grows about 20% a year. Maybe Bitcoin grows 20, 25% a year. But if you're outperforming a NASDAQ by 5% a year in Bitcoin, it starts to become, really not that interesting, right? It's like, well, NASDAQ or Bitcoin, well, they're kind of the same, right? So it's the outsized returns for this 8 years, and that's it, right? So we really have to focus on this. It's the opportunity of outsized returns. And that's not going to last forever. Bitcoin monetizes one time, and this is it. So we have to focus here. Within the next 8 years, if you're a similar age to me, you can put some money into BTC, then it's the next 8 years, and that's your retirement done. I'm not saying that you can retire in 8 years. We're still young, even in 8 years, and so we should still work. But I'm saying that is the thing that you need to figure out, right? That's the only thing that's a worry, is retirement and the other costs that we have. And if you know that's done, right, within 8 years, so 8 years time, that's basically done, because from 8 years, you're still going to have Bitcoin growing at 20, 25% a year, something like that. By the time you come to retire, if you're in, instead of having to work until your late 60s and thinking, bloody hell, I need to make sure that I've got some money, you have all the options available to you at that point. That's the only thing to invest for, right? And so options, we've got 8 years when we can take advantage of this. All of the questions about Bitcoin as a network, is it desired? Finished, done, over. Look at this. If Bitcoin hash rate is literally going up in a vertical line, there are no questions about it anymore. But we only, in my opinion, have another 8 years of these outsized returns that it becomes interesting. And so we have to focus on this. So Bitcoin hash rate, literally all-time high. That's all you need to know. This cycle in black, you can see here, just following other cycles, maybe another year or so of this, 6 to 12 months of this. And I think the returns could easily be 100% this year, 100, 150%. So let's say 150, 200,000, maybe a bit over that, if we get a little bit excited, something like that would be totally normal for a Bitcoin cycle before we have the next bear market. Next bear market will come because Bitcoin is not a stock, doesn't buy back its stock, it's just money. And during bad times, when interest rates go up, people sell their assets to buy food and shelter, and all of their liabilities are in fiat currency. Bitcoin essentially is a mirror to credit cycles. The credit cycle of the US Treasury, right? And the Fed actually helping them out, trying to raise interest rates, drop interest rates. Credit cycles are basically Bitcoin cycles. So you can see as the credit cycle inflects to the upside, you get a big bull market. drawdowns in credit and Bitcoin as well. Big drawdown in the last bear market. We're starting to inflect to the upside. 2025, the US needs to refinance a lot of debt. And so the Fed is going to help them out by dropping interest rates when they're refinancing. That's going to create liquidity. Hopefully they want to weaken the dollar a little bit as well. That will help them out with maybe some exports. So all of that's coming in 2025. It's going to be a good year for 2025. A lot of volatility in my opinion. It's all noise at this point. Bitcoin's the most desirable asset in the world and it goes up and down with credit cycles. We're in the sweet spot of the credit cycle. And in 2026, maybe that changes. But it's the next 8 years. We need to not get caught out. So time to invest, time to get in. If the credit cycle peaks, we're up here, Bitcoin's at an all-time high, maybe just figure out how much you're putting in, make sure that you're not going to get caught out in the next bear market so that you have to sell coins. That's the thing, right? This next 8 years, we have to knuckle down because it's the one opportunity. And within 8 years, the returns are going to come down and it's not going to be that big opportunity that is now. All performance is relative, right? And it only matters what you're measuring against. So the S&P 500, the kind of benchmark for investing, right? 13% returns each year, annualized over the last decade. But if the currency debasement rate is 10%, then you're only making 3%. So yeah, you're outperforming people that don't invest by 13%. So great news. But you're really only outperforming currency debasement by 10%. And besides, if you're an investor, then other investors that are in the S&P, you're just making the same. So you're actually not gaining that much purchasing power versus other people that invest. You're just getting purchasing power over people that don't invest, which I guess is a gain in purchasing power over those, but you want to be gaining purchasing power versus other wealthy people that invest, right? And so the opportunity here is basically to invest in this thing that is gaining more wealth for you than other rich people. That is like the absolute sweet spot because you want to gain wealth, right? I mean, that's what we're doing here. We actually want to gain purchasing power, and we want to gain purchasing power from people that already have assets, because that's where all the wealth is. So we want to take their wealth. That's essentially what we're doing here, right? So S&P 13%, NASDAQ 18%. Bitcoin over the last decade, 147% a year, but that's going to be coming way down. In any case, 23, 24, 150%, 121%. You can see the third year in a halving cycle is usually pretty decent, right? So, like I said, I would expect another maybe 100%, 80, 100, 120, something like that, right? That would be in the ballpark. We want to demonetize basically the wealth held in these things. But 8 years' time, it probably won't be outperforming the NASDAQ by that much. Maybe still a little bit. And that's great news, right? But it is relative. The performance here, we need to take advantage of this because it's not going to happen forever. Now, out of all of these, Bitcoin is clearly the asset that has the most returns in it left. 2 trillion now, and it's annualizing at 50% a year, 4-year CAGR. So 50% a year. That's outperforming all of these. So just moving that forward, it will slowly start to demonetize these assets, right? We've reached 100K now, which I think was the level where no one has any questions about Bitcoin anymore, right? So it's annualizing at 50%, and we know that it's just going to demonetize these assets one after one. Once we reach this above Apple and we're number 2, then the next step is gold. But we would be in today's purchasing power, let's say we reach 4 trillion in Bitcoin, right? You've still got a multiple X's to reach gold, right? So it's really the only thing out of all of these. Like if you're in the NASDAQ or anything else, Bitcoin has the growth way more than those. Now, if you can handle the volatility, then that's great. And that's what I'm saying about these 8 years, right? Because when you're older, late 50s, 60s, you're not going to want to be in something that has the volatility that Bitcoin does now, where it's like draw down 50% for a year, right? You're not going to want that. So you actually want to invest on this curve of Bitcoin as it becomes less volatile and it has less returns over time. By the time you're there, you just want your nest egg, you can draw on it, that's fine, right? So we are in the sweet spot, but we have to make sure we take advantage of it, because I don't see why any investment funds would be in these if they're getting outperformed by BTC, right? Because we need to take that wealth. We need to grow our wealth over and above that, right, to increase our purchasing power. And so this one is the sweet spot for me because the returns, the volatility profile, everything, over this 8-year time horizon here, and then moving on, as we get older, this is it, right? This is the sweet spot trade that I think everyone around my age should be looking at if you're not in it already. And I know altcoins and trading and everything else. Let's sort out that first. Let's sort out the bulk first, and then you can talk about trading and trying to make some excess returns for a small part of your portfolio. But this is a sweet spot for me. It's not just about percentage returns either, right? It's just about the day-to-day outperformance of currency versus investments versus BTC. So if you bought treasuries in 2020, you're down 45% in USD terms, 30% in purchasing power, and down 95+% in BTC terms. That's insane, right? So if we look at this as well, this is just some calculations I asked Grok to do. Maybe a little bit wrong here, but I said if the dollar is debased 10% a year, how long does it take to lose 50% of its purchasing power? 6.6 years, right? So over 50% of your purchasing power is completely wiped out in a normal scenario. If we have another crisis or anything like that, print is going to come out again, right? And you can see since 2020, you're down way more than that because it was a huge era of money printing, right? So you're down 50% in a normal scenario. If you put that into BTC, after this 8-year period, you're up 100% on the money, right? Now you're up way more on that initial year that you put in, but then obviously you keep investing, and actually the percentage looks like it's like, well, 100%, I can make 100% in altcoin, but over 8 years, you can put money in again, right? And so this is 100% on a lot more money than just one trade. And so it's the difference between losing half your purchasing power in a best case scenario versus basically more than doubling it from your initial capital, but then over an 8-year period. This is important. It's a huge difference. And basically that is, over an 8-year period, basically an investment nest egg for your retirement, right? That's done. And that's going to keep growing. It's not going to stop there, right? So every year after that, maybe Bitcoin annualizes at 20% a year. You're basically done after 8 years. So this is it, right? This is the period because we're not going to get these returns again. If you do trade Bitcoin, check out Bybit, 30,000 deposit bonus, and Apex. If you do day trade, more active trading, they give a permanent fee discount by the link below. I'm James, it's Money's EG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.